Oblivion, truly one of the games of all time, a masterpiece of cutting-edge technology and a product of Todd Howard's wet dreams. Most of you probably remember its glitches, dumb potato-face NPCs, and guards with psychic crime-sensing powers. Today, I, the unemployed computer science student, am here to answer the burning question: were Oblivion NPCs truly that bad? Were they actually ahead of their time?
Let's take a look at the other side of the game, our new Radiant AI system. It allows NPCs to have full 24/7 schedules. These NPCs are not scripted.
Yeah, that was a lie. For those unfamiliar, that clip comes from the 2005 E3 Oblivion demo where Todd was hyping up his NPCs like they were about to solve world hunger. What's next, Todd? Were you actually in the chess club or were you lying about that too? Still, I can't stay mad at the guy after all he gave us Skyrim. 15 different times. I mean, seriously, guys, at this point, surely this is on us. Anyways, while Oblivion's AI might not have been as groundbreaking as Todd made it out to be, understanding it requires looking at what came before. In Morrowind, NPCs were about as intelligent as a doorbell. They didn't think or plan or do anything human. If you clicked on them, they would spit out a line of dialogue. If you hit them, they would hit you back, and if you ignored them, they would stand there like an awkward middle schooler at their first party, silently hoping you would talk to them again. These NPCs weren't dynamic, they were scripted. Imagine a checklist: stand here, say this, fight back if attacked, rinse and repeat. Developers basically had to manually write out every possible thing an NPC could do. As one would imagine, this is incredibly tedious and repetitive. Then came Oblivion, where Todd and his team said, what if we made NPCs think for themselves? This is where Radiant AI came in. Instead of coding every little thing, the devs gave NPCs goals like get food or go to bed, and let them figure out how to do it on their own using the AI engine. Think of it like a giant simulation or Sims with a hint of D&D. When you think of AI nowadays, the first thing that comes to mind is probably ChatGPT, which has absolutely nothing to do with NPC AI, especially the one from Oblivion. While ChatGPT uses advanced techniques like transformers and massive datasets to handle open-ended conversations, Oblivion's AI, on the other hand, uses something called rule-based AI. Radiant AI isn't even actual AI. It's actually just a bunch of hard-coded instructions and methods just jumbled together in order to dictate NPCs' behavior. Sure, it seems more sophisticated than traditional scripted NPCs, but in reality, it's just the same thing with extra steps, a more flexible form of hard-coded instructions. Yeah, sure, it allows NPCs to reuse some of the game logic and appear more dynamic, but it's still not AI in the sense of self-learning and decision-making based on past experiences. To understand this better, let's examine how most games handle NPC behavior. NPC AI is the brain responsible for every character in any given game. It decides what they do, how they react, and even how they move. But remember, this isn't real intelligence. It's just a set of rules and systems designed to look smart. Most NPCs use finite state machines, or FSMs for short, to control their behavior. Imagine it like a flow state, such as idle, patrolling, chasing, or attacking. Each state represents a specific activity the NPC can perform, and the NPC can only be in one state at a time. They switch between these states when certain triggers occur. For example, let's say we have a guard NPC. They start in a patrolling state, walking along a set path. If they spot the player, the trigger, they transition to a chasing state. During this state, they run towards the player. If they get close enough, they might transition into attacking state to deal damage. On the other hand, if the player manages to escape and guard loses sight of them, the guard might transition back to a patrolling or even enter the idle state where they stop and investigate. Another popular system for NPC AI is behavior trees. Think of this as a dynamic flowchart that checks conditions and makes decisions based on them. Instead of rigidly following predefined states, behavior trees allow NPCs to assess the situation step by step. Here's how it works. The NPC starts at the top of the behavior tree and works its way down, checking conditions at each branch. For example, a guard NPC might ask, can I see the player? If yes, proceed to the next branch. Am I close enough to attack? If yes, execute the attack behavior. If no, transition into a chasing behavior. If none of these are true, the NPC might default to patrolling or idle behaviors. Behavior trees are more flexible than FSMs and allow for more complex decision-making. For instance, they can handle priorities better. If their health drops below a certain threshold, a guard NPC might decide that calling for reinforcements is more important than chasing the player. These systems make NPCs feel reactive and alive, but their intelligence is really just a clever programming. At the end of the day, all their actions come down to rules, conditions, and priorities coded by developers to simulate believable behavior. Modern games often take these two approaches, FSMs and behavior trees, and combine them to create NPC AI that feels even more dynamic and lifelike. This hybrid approach allows developers to take advantage of the strengths of both systems. For example, an NPC might use a finite state machine to handle high-level behaviors like deciding whether to patrol, chase, or attack. Once the NPC is in a specific state, a behavior tree could kick in to manage more granular actions. Let's revisit the guard NPC example. FSM. The guard switches to the chasing state after spotting the player. While in the chasing state, the guard uses a behavior tree to decide how to chase. Should they sprint directly, predict the player's movements, or navigate around obstacles? This combination creates more robust and believable NPC behaviors. It also allows for greater adaptability, as behavior trees can handle complex scenarios within each state, while the FSM ensures the NPC switches between states appropriately. But back to Radiant AI. On paper, it was genius. NPCs could go out in the world, make decisions, and live their best lives. In reality, yeah, not so much. The devs quickly learned that giving NPCs free will was like handing a raccoon the keys to your car. For example, NPCs were programmed to eat at certain times of day, which sounds simple enough, but to eat, they needed food. And if they couldn't find food, that's when the real fun started. NPCs would go full Lord of the Flies over a loaf of bread. Farmers would beat each other up with shovels, guards would abandon their posts to raid a tavern. It was like watching a Black Friday sale, but with swords instead of flat-screen TVs. Who knew that if you tried to simulate real people and don't give them enough food, they would result to crime and violence? I mean, seriously, it's kind of poetic how these NPCs mirror like all of history ever, particularly French for some weird reason. In my humble opinion, I think Radiant AI actually worked way too well, and surprise, surprise, realism is not always fun. The devs tried to fix this by scaling back the AI. They gave NPCs more structure, fewer options, and a strict no stabbing people over bread policy. But even in its toned down form, Radiant AI was a bit unhinged. You'd still see NPCs wandering into lakes for no reason or having entire conversations with walls. And let's not forget about the guards, who apparently unknowing wizards stopped you violated the law. Oh really? Did you see me steal the apple through the 3-story building? Impressive, no truly. But at least they're not arresting people for cannibalizing on their neighbors anymore. So, progress, I guess. In the end, Radiant AI gave us NPCs who are quirky, unpredictable, and occasionally brain-dead. But honestly, that's what makes Oblivion so charming. Sure, it's not perfect, but I'll take an NPC wandering into a tree over the one who's just glued at the same spot forever. After all, if the blacksmith doesn't go on a weird bread-related murder spree every now and then, are we really living? Quick intermission. While editing this video, rumors about an Oblivion remake dropped. And honestly, I kinda hope they keep NPCs just as clueless as before. There's something undeniably charming about their unpredictability. It's part of the game's magic. Then again, knowing Todd and his ambitious projects, they'll probably try something revolutionary, fail, scale it back, and reassure us with the classic "it just works" line. So yeah, no real concerns here. So, just to conclude, did Todd lie? Yes, quite a bit. Was it a lie made of greed and malice? Not really. When you see all the jokes and memes about Todd online, it's easy to forget that he's a human too, a person with his own ambitions, insecurities, and dreams. I think this lie wasn't one born out of desire to deceive, but rather out of passion what game development could become. Todd, like any of us, was excited about the possibilities, even if the end result wasn't exactly what he envisioned. Sure, Todd still makes mistakes, but the important thing is that he stays true to his vision and doesn't give in to quick cash grabs. I mean, look at the Fallout TV series. It's something we could only dream of a few years ago, and Todd was a giant part of making it happen. I believe he's a guy who genuinely cares about the world he's building and the fans who love it. Sure, he might not always get it right, but I respect the fact he's always trying, staying true to his beliefs. And in a world where so many people settle for the easy route, I think that's something to admire. I mean, I strive to be as passionate about something as Todd is about making games, even if it means making a few missteps along the way. But, and I mean this, as long as those missteps don't include Elder Scrolls 6. Todd Howard, I will not be doing any forgiving if you mess the game up. Seriously, we're all counting on you for this one. Alright, for you legend who stuck around until the end, I just want to thank you for all the insane support in the last video. I truly did not expect such support when I just started uploading. Also, I gotta address something. Apparently some of you old souls had an issue with me speaking too fast, to which I say, sorry, I didn't realize I was talking to a bunch of boomers. And even if I try to talk slower, I'm physically incapable of it, as my brain has been fried from all the doom scrolling in my early frontal lobe development years. So, here's the deal. This is one of those you get what you see type of situations. But I'll try to keep my monologues mellow for those of you with a lot of life experience who might not be too fond of exotic accents. Alright, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, turn the bell notification on, bookmark my channel, save this video to our life-changing content playlist, memorize the URL, consider naming your firstborn after me, and if you feel dangerous today, consider commenting your ideas on what game I should cover next.